Okay, ladies and gents, welcome. This should be interesting. We're gonna change FreakinAndy's color because we're not dealing with that orange color here. This is game one in a best of 5, and I will actually face the winner here, and I will be the extreme underdog when that series happens. The map is Socotra. If you haven't seen Socotra in a while, just to bring you up to speed, it's still very, very aggressive. All the settings in this tournament are pretty insane. I'm excited to see how things play out for these two. You could see FreakinAndy right now. He's come forward with Vils, and he's looking for the elephant that Margougou already brought in. Or he's looking for goats. He's looking for the berries. Anything to lame. Anything to wall in resources. As that is just so easy to do on a map like this. Margougou did what you should do. Elephant first. And then eventually even the zebras can get shot down. So just get as much food as possible. And Andy actually gets hit with the scout there, so not really the best start for Andy as far as that's concerned. Let's see. So looking through the map, you have limited stone. So there's only, I think, 4 tiles of stone per player. Where that's situated can be awkward sometimes. So like here, for example, the stone will be very awkward for Margougou. Margougou right now does not know that his berries are walled in. So he is going to go over there at some point. And he's just going to assume that's available. And look at Andy. I would prefer to face Margougou, by the way. Like, they're both better players. But Andy's really good in wacky settings. And this tournament has a lot of wacky settings. If you missed it, the way the civilization draft works is you get to choose the civilizations for the enemy. So I think that, like, that's going to suit a player like Andy, who, on top of the map pool being a bit crazy, is really good with lots of different settings. He's unable to do a lot of damage here. And Nico says, I think you'll face the loser. Can you double check that? I'm pretty sure it's in the loser's bracket, right? Maybe I will face the loser. If they haven't lost yet, then I would face the loser and the winner moves on. It is the double elim tourney, so maybe I got that wrong. Should probably clarify that point at some point so I know who I'm rooting for here. So, FreakinAndy's polls. It took us some time. We weren't able to talk about Civ bonuses. The polls have villager regeneration starting in feudal now. A year ago, it was a lot more common to see Polish villager rushes on any map. I don't even think it was a year ago, maybe 6 months ago. Because your villagers would regen in Dark Age. They do not do that anymore. And Margougou, she's battering down the palisades to get access to his berries again. Honestly, yeah, he needs to go for another palisade to take this. It hasn't been all that efficient. And Andy's just going to take the zebra for now. And at home, if you've been wondering, I mean, things have been very different for Andy. Because he's been walking around with villagers. He hasn't been able to push in his zebras. He hasn't had the best of times economically. But he's hoping to kill a villager here. Look at them try and block. I think you just got to bail on this if you're Andy. Because you might lose one of your own villagers here. Would be a huge save for him if he gets the quick walls, and that was extraordinary, and then he loses the villager anyways. Okay. And now he could lose the second one because the palisades actually block this villager too. Oh, this would be huge for Margougou. To be up by 2 villagers at this stage would be massive. It's worth it to sacrifice scout HP as well. Yeah, you block with the scout, attack with the villagers. Wow, impressive. And he kills the scout as well. Holy moly. So he's up 2 vills. He's got his berries back. He has his scout alive. And FreakinAndy, this guy didn't place a lumber camp yet. Doesn't have a mill yet. This could be over already. Like, that's how snowbally this map can be. Okay, the winner will face Mihai in the winner's bracket. You'll face the other. Okay. Interesting. Well, I guess that makes sense, and they haven't lost yet. So, Bohemians have a mining bonus. So, the fact that you mine gold faster is quite nice, and I think you're going to want to see Margougou on gold. He will do that likely when he's on his way to feudal age, though. And I could see just archer opening making a lot of sense. Because rushing to castle age then can sometimes snowball games quite quickly. We will see a lot of players send more villagers onto gold. Like, instead of, like, just 3, for example, they'll go with, like, 6 or 7. And then use a market and buy a ton of food. You can tell right now Margougou's thinking feudal. And I think FreakinAndy's thinking, what more can I do here to have a chance in this game? Margougou's even trying to push away the zebra here. That's kind of funny. But yeah, I mean, it's the correct play from Andy to just wall up here. But the fact his berries are forward and his opponent could deny them completely. The fact that he probably won't click up the fuselage for another minute and a half, 2 minutes tells me I don't know how Andy could possibly win this game. T90, you beat Margougou on Socotra? Yeah, exactly. So I beat Margougou in Masters of Socotra last year. And like I said, I think... Like, I've beaten Margougou more than FreakinAndy on ladder. Margougou has improved massively, right? Both of these players are 2,500 elo plus. My highest elo ever is like 2398. Not salty about it. Not salty that my game disconnected and my Steam screwed up and I didn't get a win to go over 2K4. Not salty about it. But yeah, like, having played both players, FreakinAndy, he has my number more. And the way to describe these two would be... Margougou is probably the faster of the two, right? He's probably the more technical of the two overall. This is interesting. Building palisades through the houses. FreakinAndy a little bit more strategic, right? So Andy's probably faster than me. It's better micro than me, but is really strategic. And then I think Margougou, his weakness, it's not like he has bad strategy, but his weakness would probably be strategy. And he has crazy execution. Okay, so quick walls here from Margougou. He's trying to drop a tower here. It's an interesting tower. I'm not in love with it. I would have just preferred to see him drop the archery range first. Like, honestly, Andy could buy himself some time here. Like, right here, this tower's not going to do much because that'll get battered down by the villagers. And then here as well, like, this is just delaying the archery range. So it's kind of good for Andy. So good work from Andy because it's been looking bad, right? Remember, he cannot take berries. Range is up, though. Archers will be out. Andy doesn't even have a barracks. And this tower will go up. It'll just be on fire. So this is a situation where Margougou has to repair it. You can't really even garrison with much. Might run out of stone. Quick walling. Okay, well. Villagers could get trapped in here. Archer's going to be out. What on earth is happening? Welcome to Socotra. Spearman died to the town center a moment ago. Archer number 1 looking to get picks. Andy's still running away. Andy's sending in more vills. Now the villagers regen. So the fact the villagers regen now is helpful, but not helpful enough for that villager. And like I said, like, the tower's going to go down. Like, I think the tower didn't accomplish as much as Margougou was maybe looking for. He still killed 3 villagers and lost 0, though. Make that 4, and he's now lost 1. Now he's lost another one himself, and he's going to lose another one himself while killing another one. And then there's going to be a tower up for Andy. I think there's actually a chance here for FreakinAndy, guys. This tower kind of protects this region. He's walled otherwise. He's going to drop farms now around full work, so you get a food boost around the full work farms. Now, what he doesn't have is army, which is still a big concern. But this is where the stones are for Margougou. If FreakinAndy's able to get another tower here, it could continue to push forward with towers. It could be complicated. You got a wall in this tower, though, FreakinAndy. Oh, boy. Margougou seeing an opportunity here. What a great job from Margougou now. And this tower's not going to stay up either. I don't think so, anyways. The villagers have to hop in and out of the tower, and then Margougou has to make sure his archers are always at the base of the tower so they don't get hit. Which is not easy. It's easy to click the tower. It's easy to click too far away. Oh, gosh. This is ridiculous. Fletching is in, though, so the archers are doing a lot of damage. You look away for a second, all your vills are going to be dead if you're FreakinAndy. And okay. I think, in the end, Margougou and his Dark Age superiority, and then the fast rush to Feudal Age is going to end up bringing him the victory here, because there's no stone income for Andy, so he can't make more towers, and Andy still has no res. So I think the idea of the tower was sound. It was just the execution of it, right? And it was well played from Andy to be able to batter it down. But yeah, now you just have big problems. And so, like I said, I think, as someone who once beat Margougou on Masters of Socotra, I think, honestly, the key here is do exactly what he's doing here. So stop with the farms. No more farms. Get more on wood, maybe. And then it's just all about buying food to go to the next stage. Because farms are more of a long-term thing. This is not a long-term map. I like actually rushing with the villagers, too, is actually quite smart. You can steal the farms. Steal the farms and delete them. Yeah, let's go, Margougou. Click the farms. Yeah, there you go. You got the farm and then delete it. Get rid of it. Oh, he's still running in. This dude's insane. I mean, he's killing villagers left and right. Surely this game is over, right? Even if he were to lose his own villagers. Look at the trap attempt here from Andy. First game in a best of 5. So Andy's going to play on, but he finds himself in the same situation he was in before. Villagers are going to have to lay down their lives. This is a massacre. And, like, these villagers are also going to be in harm's way, so. Just to coach for things. And Andy, he's lost 16 eco. Make it 17 now. He does keep his tower up, make it 18. Again, Market's your best friend here, Margougou. I was going to combine Margougou and Market. I decided against it. I don't make cheesy jokes, so. Is he still trying to cheese this farm? No? Okay. You got to delete that, though, because the opponent can steal it back, man. It's kind of funny that you don't realize it's not yours if you're Andy. Andy needs a tower here to stop this from being an issue again. There's the market. And we are going to see food being purchased pretty soon here. Great job from Margougou. It's interesting to see the score here. I guess because the KD is 19-19. But the eco KD is just insane. The way back would be faster castle age for Andy into some siege. But if you're looking at the res collected, way ahead for Margougou. And it's in the important things. It's in the food and the gold, so. What's up, Danica? Welcome. Pryash, welcome. Hope you're having a good day as well. Hello, Basket. Small hit. What's up, Paradox? Yeah, I like the heavy on stone as well. Again, Bohemians feel very nice. Bohemians is actually the civ I used in one of my games against Margougou last year. I gotta look at the civ draft, though. The fact that they gave each other Bohemians and Poles is interesting. I wonder how that ended up happening. I'm gonna assume that the Zawal map isn't included in this one. Because it's more of an arena-esque map, where these civs would be really good. It is a best of 5, so, you know, when you play this, you think, I'm only going to give my opponent weak civs. But after a while, you're giving out enough civilizations, you do kind of have to settle for giving them some pretty decent ones. Again, it most likely just there was no arena. And Bohemians and Poles maybe didn't necessarily fit the other maps. Margougou's nuts, dude. Like, you've got this win in the bag. Just back up. like, if the game was closer, stuff like this is bad. You're good, man. By the way, this farm got reclaimed, which is hilarious. Margougou just wants to kill all the time. Can't really blame him. And I think we see the GG call once Castle Age comes in. Because you're not even clicked up if you're Andy. It'd be bad even if you were on the way to Castle Age right now. But yeah, Market's being used a lot. Castle will go up right on FreakinAndy's TC. And the GG needs to be called here shortly, right? You could try and counter tower it, maybe. If you have the stone. But GG. Well, military counts as everything there. I think Andy had the right idea with rushing forward with Vills. But it was clear that, you know, the first 2 minutes of the game was just so good for Margougou. He got his elephant. He got all his sheep. And he pushed in 2 zebra. He just had so much food income. And what he didn't have was 2 villagers walking around. So, while the villagers forward can be kind of part of the meta, sometimes it can hurt you. And it definitely hurt Andy there. Score is now 1-0. And we'll look at the civ draft and the maps here in a second. Because I didn't get to do that before the series. So I'm really curious on how things are going to end up looking. So here are the maps. I was correct in my prediction. So, so we have, obviously, game 1 was Socotra, where Margougou won. Andy's got Nomad and Lowland. Margougou's got Frigid Lake and Aftermath. So then you look to the civs. Again, the way this works is you draft civilizations for the enemy, and then at the very end, you randomly get one of the civilizations you gave to your enemy on your side, which is basically what this is. That means that the Bohemians went over to Margougou. So Margougou had given Andy the Bohemians. Then at the end, there was a random selection. He got Bohemians in the random. Quite nice, actually. And then Andy, similar thing with Huns. He'd given his opponent Huns, ended up getting Huns as his selection. Is that making sense? So, yeah, so Andy loses the first game with the Poles. And then Margougou gets the first one with the Bohemians. But you have to play with civilizations that are a little bit more awkward. But not like these civilizations are bad. They have their strength. It's just awkward. It's not like your standard picks. And that's what I've enjoyed about this tournament, is we're just seeing different things. All right, ladies and gents, game number 2. This is Nomad, catching up to live time here. Margougou won the first game. And Margougou won with the Bohemians. And it was on Socotra. So a very different map than this. Here we've got Nomad. I think they used the Wandering Warriors Cup version of Nomad here, but I could be wrong on that. The fact that it's landlocked gets me excited. I feel like landlock is... It makes Nomad a little bit more interesting. Or let me just rephrase that. The potential for a landlock. The fact that it can happen from time to time. Or there be a pond in the middle. It is more... There is more adapting if it can happen from time to time. Ladder Nomad is just water's always around the circle, so it's like you always dock, you always go for Navy control. You can sneak some stuff here. And you can make decisions based on your location. Like right now, Margougou, perfect example. He will say, okay, well, my fish are actually pretty safe because I don't see an opponent's dock this whole way through. Right? Now, Andy, he's going to be trying to scout the shoreline as well with his cows. Now, he hasn't found anything yet, and it's unlikely he is going to find anything early on, it seems. But yes, Andy's playing as the Burgundians, a civilization that could be very good if they get their economy rolling. They can get their eco upgrades one age earlier. But I'll be honest, Nomad's not really a map where you even have the lumber camp at the same time, right? Where you're seeding as many farms. So I kind of like Koreans here. I think having safe fish and knowing that the fish are likely safe is a huge, huge thing here for Margougou. And if he could find enough resources, I would want to see him go fast castle and war wagons here, honestly. Oh, I thought he shot that with his TC. He's actually just going to finish the water buffalo and then go on to the rhino. But yeah, as for Andy, he's got stone and gold around. He's got food as well. Like, there's no shortage of food. But again, it is a question, especially in this tournament. How are you using your civilizations and how comfortable are you with them in certain positions? I'm not sure that the bonuses for the Bohemians, or Burgundians, excuse me, necessarily shine all that bright. So I face the loser this series, right? So I kind of rooting for Andy to win here today. I was thinking I'd prefer to face Margougou, but Margougou has looked incredibly crisp. He's had the perfect start. He didn't have to get loom. He's got 3 fishing ships versus 2. He's got 13 villagers versus 12. So he's faster to vill production and fishing ships. That's pretty significant on Nomad. I also lost a cow here, so he's assuming that the dock is over there for Andy. It's actually not. Andy's fish are in this little nook here. Yeah, like Andy's start has been far from crisp here. Let's just say that. Just not getting these timings right. What's the long-term plan for Margougou? Still doesn't know where the enemy is. There's a chance the enemy could be towards the south, let's say. And that would mean a fast castle could be considered risky. But the thing about Nomad, guys, is your woodline is usually your woodline is always next to your TC if you're TCing properly, right? And that's a really crucial resource. So it's usually fight for water, or it's fight in Castle Age. Because not having the woodlines accessible to really raid with scouts or archers, it typically limits the amount of aggression you can do. All right, so Margougou, not thinking about a fast castle. He's on his way up already. And again, he lost his cow here. So he actually thinks that that's where the dock is for the enemy. But the enemy is actually here. He's going to walk past this dock. So Margougou just wants to go kill the opponent's fish. It's an interesting choice. He's going to see the house here, and Andy's going to see him. And I think if this dock doesn't end up going down for Margougou, his advantage could kind of slip away here. Look at Andy. This is Andy's point of view. Did he not find that dock? He might have scouted that early on. Kind of interesting. I'm not really sure what he can see. But oh, Margougou wants to get the dock down. The beautiful quick walls. Delete the palisade so you can get the wood for this. He's going to drop the dock. He can't drop the dock. What's happening? I mean, already the timing on this is kind of screwed up, right? You would have wanted your dock to go up already. And this is giving some time for Andy to add a few more villagers, add a few more fishing ships, and he's on the way to the next stage. And now Andy knows. Like, now Andy knows my opponent's trying to contest on water here. So you could just add a second dock, or you could prep to make navy. We do have a dock here from Margougou. So maybe this villager's just given up. But res collected. Looking pretty fair and even right now, I'm sure. Margougou ahead. But I expect things to even out a little bit there. This villager's just on a quick wall journey. But still, it's not a bad play for Margougou to try and find the fish, locate the fish. Right now, Andy's probably thinking, well, I guess he's not going to be able to kill my fish. And he's just now ventured out for more fish here, thinking this villager can't, as the Margougou quick walls continue, thinking this villager kind of failed his job. And now suddenly your fish are under pressure. Also, I think it's worth it to delete these palisades. That's a house worth of wood. Right? So I mean, he's focused on other things, but I would suggest it. So Andy's going to back away. Remember, Koreans can't get demos. So Koreans not being able to get demos could present some problems. This villager's just chilling over here. And the fishing ships looking less efficient by the minute for Margougou. So important that he gets rid of FreakinAndy's fishing ships. It's triple dock for Andy. Sorry for all the dinging. I have to click the docks, and then the ships also ding, and then it's just a lot of dings. It's 2 fire galleys, soon to be 4 for Margougou. It's 0, soon to be 3 for Andy. And this guy's just going to loop on home. There's no wolves on Nomad. So yeah, I think this has worked out for Margougou. Castle Age times will probably depend on how much food they're able to bring in amongst everything else here. Nice moment here from FreakinAndy on the defense as he's just repairing the ships. And Margougou's going to have to pay attention to this. This would be a 6 save for Andy, right? Because he's got 3 docks producing. And oh, he's even using the fishing ship. Beautiful, beautiful job from Andy to stabilize here. He's got a lot on wood at the moment. He's got to spend that in some way. But I'm sure he is with the ships, right? Margougou stopped producing navy. Not producing any more. Only 4 fishing ships, which are getting more inefficient by the second, like we said. And still 5 fishing ships working for Andy. Yeah. Like, again, I personally feel like... Now, we don't know how good Margougou thought the start was for Andy. Right? So he's going to assume that the starts are pretty much even. And he's thinking a lot of thoughts, like Koreans struggling, no eco upgrades, Burgundians have this and that. Honestly, what I really liked with the positioning of the fish, just to go fast castle, get some war wagons out. You want to get on water later, maybe you could go for a turtle ship or 2, right? You absolutely don't want to lure the opponent to your own fish, though. He's got to produce back here. And FreakinAndy having a freaking good time again with some good micro on water here. Impressive. Saves another ship. He has not lost a unit. Dang, I really thought that Margougou was going to be able to snowball this with his advantages, but FreakinAndy's played very well in the defense, and that villager's got a hit with his hammer. There's another villager here. This is the weak villager from earlier. Andy distracted here. Margougou will defend. And then here, FreakinAndy's still focused on the defense. Let's look at food ecos. There's the market. We've got berries. We've got deer. Okay. Here we've got berries. We've got cow. Both players market. There's blacksmith. Again, 6 fishing ships. 6 fishing ships versus 4 right now. Game's still very even. If Koreans had demos here, they could pop out with a demo and then bam, suddenly, you know, there's not as big a concern. That's what Andy needs. I think Andy, in this choke point, dude, you got to add a demo. There's no counter to demos available for Koreans. They only are going to make their own fires. So just, I mean, technically speaking, you could make galleys, right? But obviously that needs mass, and you're in a tight space. You can't really micro them. And yeah, there's a demo. I really like that idea from FreakinAndy. Margougou leaning heavily on the market. He actually sold all of his stone. He's going to mine some of it back. And he clicks up to Castle Age here. So it's unlikely that going for water superiority is going to be an easy thing for him here. And now he's YOLOing everything onto stone for a castle. Still really like the idea of a castle drop. Because Koreans on Nomad, they kind of have that opportunity. You don't typically see that land pressure with archers and scouts and whatever would happen in a normal game. At least at high elo. It's just very much out of meta. Nice demo hit there. That's a beautiful demo hit, actually, and amazing defense from Andy. He now has full water superiority, and he clicks up to Castle Age 2. Okay. Never noticed the dock dinging until T90 points it out, then it drives me crazy. Sorry, but I just can't not talk about it because it drives me crazy, and I have to vent to you guys, you know? So, what does Margougou see? I'd like to see a villager making an outpost here. He's trying to micro his ships, but that's not going to be very helpful at this point. I don't know if he has Town Watch or not. It feels like he does not. Holy crap, man. He's got 15 on stone. I feel like this is more efficient than 10. or more inefficient than 10. But I guess he spaced them out nicely. Nomad rules are you always want to make the castle on their face if you're faster to Castle Age. He won't know he's going to be faster to Castle Age. Here he comes. Margougou knows. I like it a lot. Here we go. You can also make turtles. He's going to make a turtle. Okay, you drop this, and Andy might need to deny this with a tower. There's the castle. Deny with a tower, Andy. You have to stop it, right? Or can you back up here? Oh, it's so tricky. Margougou's not sending all the vills. Truthfully, I think if he tried for the tower, it wouldn't have worked. Because more vills would arrive. This would finish. You could tell Margougou thought I need to send more. He might deny it with the tower, then didn't see the tower, and then just said, oh, I'm okay with what I've got. Okay, turtle ships. They really pack a punch. They're super expensive, though, especially when war wagons cost wood and cost gold. And food eco is not really there for Margougou. Andy's going to drop his own castle right behind this. He is walled this way, which is quite nice. He still has access to gold, wood, and some food. And he's going to upgrade his ship so he can kill this turtle ship. It's so important he keeps his fishing ships alive. So he's got to back away now, and he's doing it. Ooh, nice micro. Ooh, really nice micro. Oh, wow, man. Andy's done so well with his fires this game. Now, war wagons just cost wood and gold, which is nice. When you... Whoa. Okay, we're good. Sorry. I don't know if you heard anything. It's not important. So that's really nice in these all-in situations. What's also nice is getting the ranged upgrades is going to affect your towers and your castle, too. So I think Andy doing the right thing here. He's going to have Rams coming out. And if he just holds from this, it does feel like Margougou will really struggle to keep this castle up. The difference between the two unique units is that FreakinAndy has a unit which is a melee unit, which does more damage versus siege. So there's potential for the ram push for Andy. Not as much potential for Margougou. Margougou could potentially add siege behind this. But he doesn't know about it. He doesn't expect it at all. He actually wants maybe more towers. Because he's got FreakinAndy freaking squished in here, you know? I guess this is really awkward to move around. In fact, Andy's not going to have wood soon. Dude, this is epic. This is sick. This is also not walled, so you will need units for those wagons soon. Holy cow. Okay, nice job from Margougou. But he's going to be shocked when the Rams show up. I love how patient Andy's been with it. Look at Andy's eco. He's got nothing on wood. There's tons on food, though, and it's tons on gold. And that's really what he needs for the army he's making. Watch this. Rams go in front, and then he's going to follow with 2 petards. That's going to help a lot here. But he also needs army here at the same time. So he sends the Coustier. There go the petards. He actually really screwed that one up. Because the Rams weren't being aggroed anymore. But that castle will drop for Margougou. There's no doubt about it. So I think Margougou is still okay here. Like, I think the towers are actually bringing more value than the castle is at this point. And I think he can just drop a defensive castle at his base. He's got room to expand. And I think maybe a few monks could be helpful. But this is still not an area that's all that good for Andy. Andy's going to have to come forward for wood. But you'll notice there's not a ton of wood. And villagers are just so ready to chop some trees. There they go. Still are... You know, is the occasional turtle ship, which will move out, but that won't accomplish much. But look at the damage that Margougou is able to find. And this castle is perfect. It just protects yourself from the incoming units. I guess the units for Andy's they're not going to counterattack. They need to take out the towers. Great job from Margougou. Andy didn't notice this, though. These things just slaughtered the eco. 5 villager kills. And Margougou and Andy in a pretty close game here, but I think I prefer Margougou's position. He could still make wagons. He can make more villagers consistently. He doesn't have half his economy running around. There's the TC for Andy. And he's going to realize that that's not so good for him once he sees this castle's here. I think we're just going to see a tower on the other end of the wood line from Margougou to deny the wood. What a messy game, man. He now has 22 villagers on stone. You gotta love Nomad, dude. Nomad is so crazy. I love it because you get to see unique units a lot. The game's very map control oriented. It's really unique map. Yeah, that's just the perfect play for Margougou. It's easy for me to say when I'm casting, but in the game, it's harder to make these decisions. And even just this. Just like the random walls. I mean, not so random, but... anything to keep FreakinAndy preoccupied is super important. And he's not going to enjoy the fact that there's war wagons underneath his TC and there's guard towers there. Not going to enjoy the fact that the war wagons are actually still holding their own here either. If I know Margougou, he will try and pop a villager out on the right side and repair this. Yeah, again, he's probably distracted with other things, but yeah, he's just like, anything I could do to keep this alive for a little bit longer. Okay, so Andy's in trouble. He's soon going to be able to build a castle. The thing is, where do you build the castle? You want this castle, and he takes out the tower. You really want this castle to be somewhere offensive, ideally. But if not that, maybe you have to opt for the defensive castle. Maybe more along the lines of here. Because if you castle here, then you're protecting a lot of economy behind that. I mean, these villas got to make a run for it, though. Again, when the eco's messy, a wood gold unique unit is so strong, which is why I love the war wagons here. I actually think Koreans are top 8 on Nomad. I know top 8's kind of a weird statement. But, like, I would put Spanish, Malians, Persians, Mayans, Chinese, maybe. A bit tricky, I know, with Mayans and Chinese, but still. Portuguese. We'd have to have a whole conversation. I'm just still trying to think about it. Maybe put Vietnamese in there. Italians. Lithuanians. And then I think Koreans. I don't know how many I just listed. I think they're actually really good. And I think FreakinAndy's probably cursing himself for giving his opponent Koreans at this point. You wouldn't say Chinese in a 1v1? Nah, I think they're underrated. I really do. But it might not be top 8. I know why no one plays them, but I think they're super underrated on Nomad. I get the arguments against it, though. Oh, baby. We're going to see a transport ship. Let's go. It's a lovely decision here. So, transport ship's on the way. Capture Age won't snap to the buildings that are producing a unit anymore when I click it. It makes me sad, but I can see it here. Just a couple units to get into Margougou's eco would be epic. Margougou's going to drop a castle, though. And he wants to drop it right where he had the one before. This TC's still been creating villagers for Andy, and he's been losing them. There's the transport. Now, around this time, Andy is going to have the stone for his own castle. Does he just make one defensively here? I think you have to. Like, this is going to be really nice for you. The fact that this raid could happen at the same time this castle situation happens could be interesting. I think you have to try and deny this and drop your own castle and hope to get conversions and send in the rams and just do it all at once here. Okay, Margougou is distracted by this. That's why he didn't immediately react there. He noticed because he lost one vill. Amazing heads-up play. Defends. But now you've got monks going after wagons. We've got units in the castle from Andy. If he could pop out with the Coustier, he could potentially deny all this. And he gets a couple conversions on these wagons, which will then lead to them killing more wagons. The villagers now need to be quick-walled, but the castle will go up for Andy. He will get some great kills here, and Margougou's castle might be denied entirely. And even if it goes up, guys, it's not going to stay up. Wow! Holy, and the way the Coustier work is their first attack does so much damage. It's 8+20. So even though the wagons are super tanky and it's easy to afford them on wood gold eco, there's a point where maybe the wagons don't feel as strong. So now you've got 2 castles if you're Andy. He still just had 1 town center. Well, okay, he still had this TC, and honestly, he needs to delete it. This TC is killing him, dude. He keeps sending villagers out of it, and they're running right through the wagons. But Margougou says, I've still got stone for more. He's got so much stone. He's even buying stone. He's going to try again. Now, where are his own monks at right now? They're still at home. I think he's kind of forgotten the monks. It's possible he's worried about units running into his eco, but I think if he had monks, more random villagers, I think his situation would be different. And here comes Andy again. He's got monks and he's got these units charged up. Again, the first attack's going to do a lot of damage. But there are the monks from Margougou. Delete the castle, Margougou. Just delete the castle. Don't lose the stone. Delete the castle. I don't know about that. There's 3 rams. You can't stop the rams. Okay, he deletes it. Just nomad things. What a game, guys. This game is insane. Because there's long-term gold problems for FreakinAndy. They both need to get this gold. I guess Andy could go up here. Just crazy pressure the whole way through. And again, another castle gets deleted. Oh, man. I think FreakinAndy's going to do it. There was a period here where he didn't have wood. It was that bad. But through conversions here or there, through good engagements with a really strong unit with the Coustier, he's been able to push all this back. Now, he doesn't have the stone for a castle. That would be epic in this moment. But he's going to drop a town center there so he can breathe again. And another defensive castle for Margougou, who maybe just needs to settle it down and play defense and economy for a second. What? Can we look at the stone collected? 4,200 stone collected. He's had so much of it. But he lost 2 castles, basically, right? The one never completed. But he lost that castle when it was at 98%. Honestly, I think he had the right idea. But I think that's a situation where you just castle this hill. You don't place it in the guy's face. Oh, man. Ballistics is in. A lot of the units could go down for Andy. I don't think he was expecting that castle to be up. And he got in too deep. And now he's finding out the hard way. Oh, man. Hold on. Just when you think Andy's going to take it, suddenly there's no castle for Andy to be able to defend this position. And this could swing right back. It should swing right back, in my opinion. Like, this is the moment for Margougou. The wagons is how you win this game. And you got to just hope there's no castle here. Here he goes. You have no way to defend this many wagons. And all those villagers will be exposed. Margougou goes in. He sees the monks. The wagons are clunky. Okay, great job. Man, you could just tell how annoying it is to use wagons. Great conversions from Andy. I would be buying stone if I were Andy, trying to get a castle on the hill, because this is a worrying amount of army. Especially with ballistics in. That's good micro from him. Oh, Margougou, you're crazy, dude. You're crazy, but I love it. It's brought us an amazing game. Make a decision here, Andy. Do you go after the castle or do you go after the war wagons? He obviously is going to have to kill the war wagons. The Rams get house walled out. The siege workshop might need to be deleted so the Rams can path around. What is this game? Margougou backs away from another castle. There's still not the biggest army for FreakinAndy, but he's still got a continuous stream of units. Another delete it, Margougou. Third time's not the charm here. Maybe it's the fourth or the fifth time. Holy crap. I still think Margougou can win. Just place a castle next to your wagons and deny that gold, maybe. There's still gold here for Andy. Andy's done a great job keeping population flowing throughout this. Also, just hasn't even left the position. But now he's maybe thinking that he could drop his own castle. He's been getting good upgrades, and Margougou's got to be thinking, man, what more can I do? As he's found more stone, he's found more gold. The guy hasn't gone over 20 on food this entire game. We might actually see Margougou lose hope here and think about tapping out once he sees this castle goes up. Oh, man. He's trying another castle. He deletes another castle. I've never seen someone cancel or lose so many castle foundations in the same game. I have to go back and do the math on it. What was that, like 5 now? 4? At least 4. Oh, wow. What a fun game. And what a fun hold here from FreakinAndy. He's had the monks healing up his units. He's been streaming in the Rams. He's got full armor now. And these things just chew in that first engagement. And then you could back away to your castle if there's ever any doubt. And back away to your monks. And the monks have more range than the war wagons. And that is the end. That was a great Nomad game. I hope people enjoyed that one. And, you know, Margougou, he had some epic moments. So we can't really say that, you know, we can't be too critical of any decisions he did or did not make in this game, truthfully. But it was epic defense from Andy. I mean, Andy got castle dropped. And yes, he had the eco lead. Yes, he just had some fishing ships, but he did not have space, man. There was a period he could not take wood. And then he turned that into denying as many castles as he did. Now, if we really want to break it down, okay? So we obviously remember this castle. That was the initial castle. Okay. So right around here, like you see your opponent's TC, right? You're kind of denying it. You still got the tower up. Honestly, I think the approach from here should just be wagon numbers. And, you know, what we end up seeing is you've got 9 wagons, 2 monks, 3 Coustier, no monks yet for FreakinAndy. So I think it is honestly just a classic case of Margougou trying to do too much. I understand the thinking. You're in a tournament. You want to think kill, kill, kill. You're also up against a civilization that has really good economy. But truthfully, like, I think the castle spot he chose to place here actually, it started to complete the comeback for FreakinAndy. This castle doesn't need to happen. With this many war wagons and the monks on the field for Margougou, the castle can just go up here. It never gets denied. You never lose the villagers. You hold the gold, and then you can have 2 castles to produce the war wagons. This is a situation in the game where I think Margougou can use the map control and he could take it. But I'm still just flabbergasted at how good FreakinAndy played. He took some really good engagements. And at least for this series, where if you'd like to see all the games, you can check the description. And I have the full best of 5 there for those that are watching on the main YouTube channel. At least for the series, it ties it up 1-1. Full context, I am playing the loser of this series this upcoming week in this tournament. So just trying to do some homework and have some fun games. There's the eco collected. Again, that's all on the extras channel if you guys are interested in checking it out. Again, it's in the description. And we're going to move on and cast those games. Great KD from Margougou. He collected 5,000 stone in a 45-minute game. That is something else. And good stuff, good stuff. All right, so game 3, catching up to live time. This is Frigid Lake, a map where you have 2 fish and 1 boar as your main food sources. And then there's a pond in the middle. Look at this build from Margougou. He's Celt, so he chops wood faster. And he's actually gone for an early dock with 2 villagers. Sorry about the sniffles, by the way. So Andy's gone for a more standard approach. And he's playing as the Cumans here. But he's got to be careful. He doesn't have Loom. It's not easy to wall in your villagers here. And you usually want this villager to be collecting res. So Margougou already out here. And Margougou, true to his reputation here, just wants to go over here and try and kill this. I think he's going to be too late to fully deny the dock. But yeah, okay, he backs away now. He's just going to take the fish. Chris says, between matches, I never know what I'm looking at on those resource charts. Can you go over it super quick? Honestly, there's so much data that I can't truly break it down because these guys are playing so quickly. I could find a moment to do it, but I know this is a non-answer, but honestly, I would say if it's confusing, the only thing that's really of value is the resources collected. Everything else just kind of shows timings, and there's like a bunch of toggles on and off, worker efficiency last minute, worker efficiency here, text here. I could find moments where it is relevant. Largely not something you need to really confuse yourself with. I'll try if I find time to talk more about it. So, Cumans, Celts are not civilizations you would ever see picked here if the players had a choice in the matter, but that's not how this tourney works. So, ooh, interesting. Margougou. He's sacrificing scout HP for this. Trying to kill this Vil. And it looks like that villager's going to escape for Andy. So, Andy still has the scout alive. Margougou does not anymore. Not to mention that Margougou's been running around with 2 villagers, and Andy only had to run back home quickly with 1. I like Celts a lot, and it's actually really interesting to see the build here from Margougou. Because this is a map where having a wood bonus is very nice, because you're at the very least spending wood on the buildings, but also the navy. We've got villagers attacking fishing ships. Like, Margougou just does some ridiculous things. Like, I don't necessarily agree with this. The ideas are aggressive, but fishing ships are way faster than villagers, right? The fishing ships could so easily escape. Anyways, these 3 fishing ships are working in the middle. Andy hasn't clicked up yet. The Margougou's build order has definitely given him the better uptime. He's probably has less wood right now. Yeah, he's less wood. I mean, it's not significant. He actually has less of everything, but it's just the timings of it, I suppose. There goes Andy to the next stage. So, not having a scout really hurts Margougou. And so it seems to me like he's just planning on going 2 docks on water and only going water. And fortunately for him, his opponent's also just going to do the same. Because, like, if you went for forward archer range, or just archers in general at Margougou's base, Margougou's got no answer to that. He's wide open. But both players have fished, so you can't just fully give up on water, and it feels like both players put a lot of value there. And 3 villagers on gold. Main difference here, again, is Celts chop wood faster. And then Andy's gone for 1 lumber camp to save some more wood for the time being. And Cumans, while they probably won't go for the second TC here, they do have the cheaper archer range and stables, so that could be really cool. What's up, Cyro? Welcome. My mind always says sneak to land when opponent loses scout in these situations. I think Margougou will need to open on water strong, which he's going to aim to do here. And then maybe just wall. Right? Like wall. I mean, it'd be a big wall. But you could wall the backside. You could wall this way. That or just add a barracks so you can add an archer range at some point. Now, Andy knows his opponent's gone 2 docks. And there goes Margougou with a villager across the middle of the map. Super weird. What are you doing, dude? I don't understand this guy sometimes. He's so crazy. Now the Vil's exposed. Like, I'm not sure what he was expecting to happen here. Nice job from Andy. I mean, I got to give him props for blocking with the fishing ship and attacking with his own Vils. Maybe it's all a bait. Because now the fire ship's over here, but the villager's kind of trapped. Villager can't move much further. So that villager's dead now. But there are 2 villagers here for Andy, and Andy's going to lose one too. So it's just been that type of game. 3 docks for Andy, though. He figures I just need to win in production here. This is a situation where if you get pop capped for a second, you just lose the game. Because it's all about production in the middle. There will eventually be variation in strategy, but you kind of want to start diversifying into another strategy when you haven't already fallen behind in another unit line or another aspect of the game is what I wanted to say. And this is the choice for Andy. He's going for the second town center. Really interesting. And it's potentially very dangerous against the Celts, right? Because even if you get the villager lead, Celts are known for eating TC, as Huang used to say. So he's opting for the economy on land. Also going to be pretty difficult to be able to get the food eco for that, right? He's still got sheep here, still got berries exposed. I already expressed what I think. I really would have liked the barracks in the archer range. You're already on wood, you're already on gold, it makes sense. Boom. Demo comes in. Can Demo find connections? Demo just kills 1 ship, which is in the end isn't exactly worth it. But there's some weak units in here for Andy, and he's going to have to repair, and there's going to be a demo soon for Margougou, so you got to be real careful. Yeah, dude, this is a risky spot to be in, especially with the way ships path. Good luck getting out of there. Does Margougou see the demo? Looks as though he does. Tries to split up. And yeah, that's another good moment for the players on defense against demos. Okay, idle TC time is going to be really interesting to look at here. We have scouting from Andy, and he'll notice that there's no barracks or archery range from Margougou. Demo. Bam. Okay. Another instance where the demo doesn't land, which is pretty crazy. Both players have done a good job against the demos. Because it's close quarters, right? So you could very easily just have 4 ships clumped up and you just get smashed. I still think it's worth it to make the demos, right? Eventually there's going to be one big demo that could snowball things in the middle. And maybe it's now. Because there's villagers here too. You could go for the vills. Oh, that's worth it. Oh, and he takes a ship with it. And that might be full water control for Margougou soon. They both committed so freaking much here. Look at this villager walk forward. It's funny, the fires couldn't hit that fire because it was around the dock. But okay, second TC for Andy. He has actually kept Vill production rolling reasonably well. He's only ahead by 2 villagers, so actually I take that back. But he's going to add a barracks now too, and he's going to aim for a range. To me, it's just insane that Margougou hasn't even walled. It's like he knows his opponent isn't going land. But especially now, the move for the opponent should be to go land in some way. He's just going for the market, so he's thinking faster Castle Age, and then he'll adapt it from there. Yo, what's up, Ducks? 9 fires, 1 demo on the field, 2 fires, 3 demos. I mean, the demos need to connect nicely, and Margougou knows it, so he split up all of his ships. This is really tough work, right? Like, it isn't something you really appreciate much when you're just watching if you've never done it yourself, and, well, those demos were also not very successful. Now the walls are coming up for Margougou. And there's the range for Andy. But guys, he doesn't have the food for this. I think Andy's in big trouble. The second TC just doesn't really seem like it's flowed well with the map. You can't farm around your TC even, so if you start farming out here, you're really exposed. And he's going to try and demo fish now. Margougou splitting up his fish. Just worried the Castle Age time is going to be so late for FreakinAndy. He's just now arrived to a point where he can keep both of his TCs working consistently. The Margougou's living the dream. Hasn't been pressured. Has some fish. Hasn't had to wall. Has had no vision on what his opponent's doing. Still think it's just way too bold not to wall, right? At this point, he probably assumes his opponent's on 2 town centers and his opponent's not adding army. Ooh, Margougou is missing a building here. Forgot a blacksmith. Yeah, I don't... Like, I think competing on water was a really good idea from FreakinAndy. But imagine how much more success you have here on water if you have a little bit of land presence to distract Margougou with, right? The demos suddenly can accomplish a lot more. There's just more distractions. And then, you know, your Vil lead would... You're probably not pressured in Castle Age quite as quickly due to the fact that you have some land pressure. Margougou is still very late to wall. Like, even just like 2 archers with fletching and Azeka right now would be super frustrating. But there's the scout for Andy. I'm still going to get clapped by whoever I face, but I will say strategically, based on the civilizations these guys have received, from the caster's perspective, I have disagreed at times with what some of the players have done. Which makes me feel like if I could execute the strategies properly, make some certain tweaks, maybe I can get a game or 2. But, like, they're playing an extremely high level. Margougou gets the walls down in time. Unfortunate for FreakinAndy. That FreakinAndy, though, does have lots of walling down himself. Is on the way to Castle Age. And he might need to abandon the berries, but... You know, I think he's going to make it to Castle Age because this is the Castle Age TC. So if this one goes down, he will still make it to Castle Age. Does he have any vision on this? He has no clue that there's a villager here for Margougou. Stable from home for Margougou. He'll make a knight to clear up these archers. Should be an pretty easy clear. And then he's going to go knight siege on the front. But under some level of pressure now because the Vil lead has still been growing for FreakinAndy. What should Andy do here, in your opinion? I think Lancers. Basically, you want your opponent to have to add monks before they can push with the siege. If you go Lancers to snipe the early siege, I think you're in a really good spot. And he's adding the stables now. Archer's also able to pull away. Knights unable to find them. And we have Monastery opening for Margougou. So Margougou is expecting the Lancer play. Oh my god, he's on stone as well. Interesting, interesting. Knight's just wandering through here. He has no clue the stone's even there because he lost his scout. And that knight's going to be pushed away. And he doesn't see the stone. Wait, now he sees the stone. Okay, so... Yeah, you're just going to be terrified your opponent's going to get a castle down at some point. See if we see a couple Lancers out of these stables. I guess you could also go for camels because you see knights. A lot of players go Lancers because they're faster and they're able to pick off the siege and monks a bit easier. FreakinAndy with a villager lead. Second town center for Margougou. So he will catch up in that regard. Remember, Margougou does have fish, which is very helpful. And it's just his own knights here for Andy. Still waiting for the stone for a castle. But he's selling stone, actually, so he can make more monks and make more knights. I think all of this bodes fairly well for Margougou. I think Andy was expecting there to be siege. He was not expecting the monk opening. And that villager actually gets converted. He was just repairing the gate, and they weren't paying him enough. So he says, aha, I'm on strike now, fools. He's going to batter down the gate that he helped build. Nope. He knew where the structural weaknesses were. Both players kind of getting surprised by the monks, right? Margougou would have been a good opportunity for him to dive if not for the monks. That monk can't convert right now because he converted the Vil, but you've got Scorpions from Celts. The monk now gets Faith again, and that's going to be a good moment for Margougou, I think. Archers are trying to kill the traitor there. And the monk here, that's not even going to be a conversion. Oh, he had to delete it. Great job from Margougou. And Margougou's on 2 town centers. So he's on 2 TCs, could even go for the third. So, you know, he's going to be in a great spot economically. And you never really know in Andy's position how much your opponent is committing to this. Like, obviously you see the army, but what I mean by that is this could be an all-in. You have to respect that this could kill you right now. You're not going to expand your economy at all. Now, unit-wise, it gets really awkward for both civilizations in this matchup. But I think your long-term is probably like Pike Siege for Celts anyways. And I think the only... Like, I think that would be awkward against Kipchaks and Castle Age, because Kipchaks are kind of a dangerous unit due to their firing speed. But FreakinAndy continues to sell stone. He doesn't feel like he has the gold. He's using the market so much here. I think if this is 50-50, if the engagements are just going back and forth here, no player clearly wins any of these engagements. As we see a ridiculous fight. Knights killing the monks. Siege is going to get picked off as well. There's a lot of army here from Andy. Hold the phone. Forget the ifs. Well, that's still kind of even. Anyways, I think the longer this is just 50-50, the better it is for Margougou. But the monk number is pretty insane for FreakinAndy right now. He's got 4 monks. And now maybe he'll actually start to save up some stone and maybe go for a castle. And dude, you've got to build the castle here, right? I honestly, I think the safe castle, which so many players will place, is actually on this hill. Because it kind of defends from this push. And this is where Margougou's been coming in. But the gutsy castle, the castle I'd love to see would be a castle forward right here on Margougou's face. Look at Margougou. New monks on the way. He's going to start losing ships to conversions. Monks have died to navy. Oh, this is an amazing game. KD's been even. Resources collected. I think it's going to even get closer than this, but FreakinAndy's been ahead. He also has used the market a lot more, so that kind of... It's deceiving. Oh, convert the demo and then use the demo on something. That would be epic. Where's this castle go? You also have a gold tier. Oh, he doesn't know about it. Oh, come on. Get the castle down. Okay, he's just going to make a TC. Runs away with the knights. He has atonement, so he can convert the enemy monks, something Margougou won't expect. That monk gets converted, says, hey, bro, join my side. It's cool over here. That guy joins the red side, then regrets it and deletes himself. What was that? Excuse me? Okay. So I know this is possible, but it is extremely rare. So let's rewind. Okay. So right now, the red player, FreakinAndy, has atonement. And Margougou has no clue. All right? They both got monks trying to convert units. Andy, with atonement, can convert enemy monks. Watch what happens here. So Capture Age is going to show us with the lines. Okay, right here, he converts a monk. Now, this is like one of the worst things that can happen to you in these situations if you're blue. Because this monk has just changed sides, but this monk still has conversion juice. He's got faith. You know, conversion juice, faith, same thing. So this monk's going to turn around and try and convert his buddy to the team. Now, Margougou would have realized that's the case, and he tries to delete his monk because he doesn't want it to get converted. But the conversion and the delete command came in at the exact same time. So actually, it turns red and then dies. I've only seen that one other time, and it was with a camel, actually. A camel that was converted. And I don't know if it has something to do with servers and like whatever little ping there is between the player's command and the servers. But just look at how it all happened at like the exact same moment here. It's so rare that this actually happens. Ready? Like, the second it's red, it just dies. So, in the end, it's actually quite good for the blue player, because red doesn't have another monk there, but that was kind of a fun moment. How would it look with Heresy? Probably the exact same way, to be honest. It would probably look the exact same. Well, no, it wouldn't, because the unit would just die instead of changing color in the first place. So, in the end, FreakinAndy clears it up. He's now going to drop a castle forward. I wanted more gutsy. This is such a big problem for me as a player, and I'm trying to change it. Forward castles, guys. Forward castles need to take crucial positions. Unless you're going to be in Imperial Age after to win trebs. But, like, right now, this castle isn't a bad castle. It denies gold. But you've got army control. Your opponent's on the back foot. Your opponent's here. Players don't like to take the risks in tournaments. But if this castle's here, it changes the entire game. You start breaking down buildings. You've got pressure into your opponent's eco next to their TC. This is a safe castle, and if FreakinAndy loses this game, he might regret this safe castle. Because there's no way a castle here ever gets denied. He's still going to try and break through. Also, Fire Galley that I think he made and didn't convert is starting to kill fish. Unimportant at this point, honestly. Monks must be in random spots for Andy. Oh, they're right here, actually. He's looking at other things, but he sees the knights now. And he says, I would like those knights, thank you very much. And he's going to get quite a few conversions here. And Margougou, he's probably looking at this. And the knights actually got through. So they're killing Vils. But we're also going to see kip checks, right? And it's just now a big question if you're Celts, what army do you make? You want to go pikemen against knights, certainly. Kip checks in mass can micro down the pikemen. The Celts just become very awkward in late Castle Age. Now, you know, in terms of the balance conversation, I had been saying ever since they removed the Dark Age infantry speed bonus for Celts that they should bring it back, because Celts need a little bit more in early game so they could get a bigger lead before this stage of the game begins. The devs actually buffed the super late game for the Celts with strongholds, being able to like heal around castles, etc. I think the problems that set in late Castle Age for Celts sometimes don't allow them to get to that stage of the game with experienced players. And FreakinAndy really piling on the pressure here. And I really like it. I also like the fight from Margougou. I like the fact he's got 80 villagers still. He's going to drop a TC on this gold. A gold that Andy didn't even know about, actually. It's his gold. It's supposed to be his anyways. He doesn't know about it. So he might never head over there. That could maybe save Margougou. It's going to be really tough. Oh, man. Without gold, Margougou will have this, like I just said, but an outpost here, and suddenly he finds this gold, which would be such a big help for him. And look at the kip checks. We're just going to poke down these pikes. Oh, wow. Whoa, what a play. Whoa, what a play. He hopped into the TC with pikemen. You don't see that every day. Into the TC with pikemen. Hops out and gets right on top of him. I guess you don't see that every day because normally you don't see units underneath the TC. On this map, you can't farm around the TC. The villagers can't be around the garrison. Anyways, Ballistics is on the way right now for FreakinAndy. And the big thing for him is he's not spending food on army anymore. So Imperial Age is likely going to come in at a really solid time for him. And you just feel like the answer is simply just more pikemen if you're Margougou. So you're spamming more Vils, obviously. And then you're just spamming more pikes. And you will never make it to Imperial Age at a reasonable time if you're doing that. Great game here, guys. This has been a really fun one. A really fun one to break down and talk about. It's been a unique map. We have pros and cons and decisions on either side. In the end, Andy's cumin boom ended up really getting a nice spot. And the castle, while it wasn't as forward as it maybe could have been, it gave him access to the kip check, which is what he wanted in the first place with it. And now he's going to try and eat the Celt TC. Now, there is a long-term weakness with kip checks, and that is the fact they don't get Bracer. But he hasn't even had Bod Canero yet. And I think even just getting like chemistry on them can still be really strong. I'm going to assume that he thinks he has Bod Canero because he's getting armor now. Oh, no, there's Bod Canero now. So these things are still kind of made of paper. They only have 4 base attack, only 60 HP. Not the strongest unit ever. Lack of stone could be an issue for FreakinAndy if he wants to continue with this unit line. He's going to have lots of gold. Maybe he still wants to consider Cavalier or something. But yeah, kip checks are a cheap unit. That's the other thing about them. It's easy to make a lot of them. And still really concerned for the long term here for Margougou. What do you even do? Your best unit's going to be Woad Raider. So you try and go to the next stage and get to Elite Woad. And hope for the best from there. And there might be a chance. He would have to stop production with everything. Woads do produce pretty quickly. And he does have lots of gold right now. Actually, Andy's going to realize. He's going to be like, what? He's been here? And so he'll find a couple of villager kills. And he'll also see that there's a stone there too. Cumins with all tech equals OP kip checks. Yeah, if kip checks had Bracer... they would be incredibly strong. Again, I think the main thing about Kipchak, it's lack of range, right? But they've like next to no fire delay. And they're also cheap. And it's the timings with the Cumans, right? Like, players have to add so much to be able to stop the Kipchak, and then you get imp faster. And then you could get a big lead and potentially finish off the game with other things. I know my buddy Dave has hated the Kipchak for a long time, but he has continued to hate the Kipchak, and pros continue to make the Kipchak. It is a very interesting unit, right? Like, it's not a unit where you'd really want to go for it ever in, like, Black Forest, right? Where everyone has time to go for their ideal units. But it is a unit that is very strong in situations in 1v1 games. But, I mean, Margougou could maybe click imp here. Oh, God, he's still like, forever castled. And Andy, who sold so much stone in this game, has just bought a ton of stone now. And he'll castle here, which means he can take control of this area, take control of the stone to make even more Kipchaks. Also grabbing relic number 3 right now. Oh, God. Oh, jeez. Be careful with the knights. That's a little painful. Kills one of his own knights there. I see what he's trying to do. He's got such a big lead, he probably can get away with this, but he just needs a little bit of patience here. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, no. He lost his Kipchaks. The castle is going to go up. Yeah, he was looking here, and in the end, the population's actually still even. But it's not going to stay even because Margougou is going to lose so many units next to this castle, and he's still going to lose some battles here. Kipchaks win 9 games. Dave says nothing. Kipchaks lose 1 game. Yeah, Dave, see, they're useless. Yeah, that's true. Like, it's so funny to listen to him try and cope with it. He always, like, consistently feels as though the players who lose to Kipchaks do something wrong. And I'm like, how many times is that going to happen where you realize maybe the players that are dying to the Kipchaks aren't actually making some massive mistakes? Humans in general are really tricky to deal with. The Kipchak is actually perfect unit design-wise for the humans, though. Maybe a good video idea. I mean, Margougou's going to make it to Imp. I think he's going to be dead by the time he makes it there. But he will make it to the Imperial Age here, and he's still probably just thinking, what do I do? This is not his Imperial Age TC. His Imperial Age TC is here. But it'll be Cavalier and Kipchak. Kipchaks are getting a lot of upgrades they didn't have before. So, yeah. 141 villagers for FreakinAndy. You go for Kel Paladin here? No, Paladin would be the tricky thing to go for in this situation. You don't have the eco control anymore. You gotta kind of commit to what you've already teched into and hope for the best. Notice how he's not floating a lot of res. It's unlikely that Margougou can pull off a comeback here, but it was still a really good game. I think Andy is just... He's really good in the messy games, man. And strategically, he's very sound. Like, he could have easily lost the previous game. He could have easily lost this game as well, but he just stays alive. But yeah, I'm going to make a video eventually in dedication to Huang, and in that video, I'm going to say that... And this is, I think this cannot be disputed by anyone. If Huang would have never existed as a player, Celts would have never lost their Dark Age bonus, speed bonus for infantry. And I'm going to talk in that video how I think it was actually a bit of an overreaction from the devs, and that it actually suits the Celts balance-wise. The Celts, they have the wood bonus, but we really saw in this game, beyond like the siege potentially working, they just do not have a lot. And that's why FreakinAndy had given his opponent the Celts here. It can be dangerous in some ways, sure. But in a 1v1, it just gets to mid-castle, and it's just like, well, you are, you're stuck, right? And so he needed all this to work. In hindsight, FreakinAndy making the amount of army he did, making the knights, making the monks, and defending from that early attack was really good. And once he got the castle up, it really felt like Margougou had nothing. Margougou had fallen back. He had collected a decent amount of resources, but not even close to FreakinAndy's resources collected. Very well played. I wasn't sure if the second town center would actually be worth it. I really would have loved the army production, but the eco paid off. And Margougou wasn't really able to get the snowball rolling there. Okay, so before I knew that I was going to potentially face one of these guys, I had a conversation with Andy on this tournament and asked him what maps he liked. And he said Socotra and Aftermath. He lost on Socotra. And now the scouts are engaging here on Aftermath. Now, I do not like this map for a tournament featuring competitive players. I think it adds way too much RNG. I've been very clear on that. And the reason for that is these trade posts, these trade workshops bring you resources. So FreakinAndy is getting resources from this, and he sent a Vil here, so he's getting resources from this. I think Margougou might already be dead. Like, it's really that bad. You might think I'm exaggerating, but look at the resources collected already. It's bad. And what hurt for Margougou is that Andy just got his scout here first. So he's just getting some of every resource except stone. And then the Vil happened to go this way as well. Margougou has to commit everything he can just to try and tie this, just to try and make this even. And you bet that Andy, he's going to kill that scout and he's going to run around in circles. This series is over. Yeah, I think this series is just over. Because you can't go this way anymore. Like, the best strategy is to use the trade workshop resources to make militia. Margougou says, very nice map, 11. Yeah, this is over. Look at the res collected. It's GG. So, I maybe sounded a little bit negative when I played it against Nilly. And was like, well, this is just kind of a dumb map. It's GG. So, yeah. I feel really bad for Margougou, and I wanted to see more games in this series, but it's just over. So, and I could show you the start to once the game actually concludes, but the worst that could happen is both players send their scout to the trade post, and then, oh, Blue got it! Blue actually got it! That saves him! Ooh, okay. Still think he's dead. But anyways, the worst that can happen is both scouts go in, and then one person gets there first. Res collected right now, 1,000 resources versus 600. So, you know, maybe I'm wrong. You know, you've got the bear helping out Margougou here. And the bear's going to be attacking this militia. So this will be 2 versus 1. And Andy's just going to still hold on to this one. Obviously, you still have to do your main economic things at home as well. 50 seconds of idle TC time for Margougou, though. That's obviously due to the fact that he didn't have as many resources. But he does have this. Also, the flames are just so loud on this map. Makes it very awkward. How would you feel if they added a third one in the middle? I think they give too many resources for Dark Age start. If it's Empire Wars, which is where this map was debuted, and you already have 26 villagers, I actually really like the map. But for Dark Age starts, it just brings too many resources. So I think adding a third would maybe add to the snowballiness of it. But yes, then it would add a third way to get a little bit lucky and get a big boost of resources. So Andy's got 8 militia because of the resources he collected. He also has more villagers, so Andy is going to reclaim the other side now. Margougou seems a little frustrated, and I don't blame him. And there's no way that he can win this game at this point. Not a fan of Aftermath, but to be fair, he passed on banning it. Well, yes, but you can't look at it that way when there's just one ban, right? If you're up against a player who's better on closed maps than you, and you have closed map, and then you also have RNG map, you just simply hope the RNG and the luck factor goes in your favor on this map, and you ban the closed map. Because the closed map is a sure thing, and it's strategic, and it's standard Age of Empires. This map, it's just luck of the draw on the initial scout, and the villager going to the other side. So players are always going to make decisions based on sure things, and if there's luck factors, they're just going to say, well, okay, well, I hope I get that. But yeah. It's 1,000 total resources difference at this point. It's insane. And he says, so I lost because you had the thing first with your scout, and Andy says yes. And Andy says nice, Margougou says nice GG. So yeah, I experienced a similar thing when I played this map. So but when I play, it'll now be Margougou in the next series, especially because I see how tilted he is. I'm 100% picking this map, and I'm the worse player than Margougou, so I'm just going to hope that I get to the thing first. But yeah, like, this game was decided because of the scout position and how quickly they moved out. So, like, go back to the very start, and there's a couple things you could talk about. Like literally, like, look, Margougou chooses to send his scout to this one. His scout spawns back. His opponent's scout spawns more forward. And then you watch the journey, and boom. So you've wasted this entire trip. You have no way of knowing if they have it until you get there. And then you don't even get any benefit. That sucks. That really freaking sucks. So yeah, and it sucks for the series, but FreakinAndy moves on. Okay, so I will face Margougou. We both have now been defeated once. It'll be a best of 5, right? So, yeah, this hasn't been updated yet, but FreakinAndy will go here into a winner's final. If I beat Margougou, or if Margougou beats me, we'll face the winner of running and targets. And it's a long road to eventually get to the grand final. But essentially the way it works is you can do so if you've lost the series already. So we'll see how it goes. Does that mean running lost? Wait, who did running play? Why is running there? Running lost to Mihai. Ooh, interesting. Okay. Mihai playing very good then. Margougou would have had the shorter way to the other trade workshop. Yeah, but he didn't know that. But you understand what I'm saying. Like, you're absolutely right. Like, okay, so if you could look at it, he should have maybe said, I'm closer to this one. But you don't know how close your opponent is. You don't know how close you are necessarily. And you don't know what direction they're going. So, I think for Dark Age starts, this map, if you want a competitive tournament, is not good. But it's a tournament that experiments with a lot of other settings. And like the Civ draft system is also unique. And I overall like the tournament. But I hate to see games like this that are pretty much a wash from 40 seconds in. It's not something that I can really get that excited about. So, GG. But again, the map's awesome. Just look at it in like the Red Bull events and Empire Wars. Then it's, I think, a little bit different. All right. Well played there to FreakinAndy. Man, Margougou's going to be kicking himself for that Nomad game, because that Nomad game was definitely within his grasp. He could have won that, lost there, and, you know, we'd then be going to a game 5, right? It would be cool if you only got resources if you have the monument uncontested. I mean, if you want that, why don't you just put like a monument that's easily closer to the opponent's base? Like, if you like the idea, what you could do for RM possibly, oops, wrong scene. So it doesn't create those super lucky snowbally moments from 2 minutes in. You put like one here and you put one here. And then you know each player's going to get one, and then you get the resource boost, and then you have resources to fight with and contest for the middle. That would actually be quite cool. So, Duck says right, then one should ban it if it feels too risky. No! I already explained the reasoning! You don't do it, because you might be the one who gets lucky, so you're not going to ban it. Because you want to ban the short things. You want to ban the actual things that are based on strategy and whatnot, right? So Margougou's, he knows if he goes in against FreakinAndy, who's a closed map player, that bad things could happen to him here. That's a guarantee. He might just win the flip of the coin on Aftermath. Now, if there's 2 bans, I agree with you more. But when there's just 1 ban, I don't think you can really be critical of the player. I don't think you can. Anyways.